the next thing we're going to talk about is another game that's kind of reimagining itself, and that's God of War. Sony showed this, was their first thing?
Yeah, I believe, they opened the show with this
conference. And it's changed quite a bit.
Oh,
not only is Kratos old and has a beard, but
and a son somehow. Yeah.
Yeah, he has a son. He had a family in previous games, right? But
they were killed. They were. I believe they were all killed off before the start of the first game. So So yeah,
that's
Kratos
like what
had
the
a
ash
past.
was on his skin, right?
Yeah.
It was his family's ash.
Yep. So he must have maybe either he
Had
adopted
another one?
maybe he started a new family with someone else after the events of God of War 3, or
Well, in the trailer he says at the very beginning that that's your mother's knife.
yeah.
So whether or not
He's the actual dad.
he's the actual father, that's not to be known, but you can kind of assume that he probably tried to settle down after he killed all the gods.
Yeah.
And now he's got to kill all the gods again.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, now he's in the Norse mythology or whatever.
Yeah.
So he's moved to a different place. Apparently, when the game does hit, we're gonna get context to a lot of stuff that happened in between. But yeah, no, just like when I first saw Kratos come out and that big beard, it's like, oh man, he's back. And then right away, you just saw like how this is gonna be a brand new God of War experience, just with the camera, with the way they changed it to like your typical action, third-person action game.
Yep.
And I don't know, the cool little environment they showed, like it seemed a little more grounded, I guess, because they were just hunting a deer.
Yeah.
So it's like now they were in the woods, just Kratos was showing his boy how to hunt. And a big like mechanic of the old God of War games was Kratos' rage meter that always built up as you got attacks, and you could activate it and like wipe out all the enemies. Well, there was still a rage meter there, but it seemed like Kratos was trying to control his rage in certain portions of this demo, like when his son accidentally like shot him in the shoulder with an arrow, shot Kratos, and like you saw his meter go up for a minute, then go back down. Like, all right, I gotta cool down.
Yeah.
So it seems like they're trying to humanize him a little bit more, and give him more likability, because I think that was the biggest complaint this series has always had, is Kratos isn't the most likable character.
Yeah, I mean, this is the biggest tonal shift they probably could have gone for.
Oh, yeah.
Because those old games are like, they're just combo driven.
Yeah.
Just Kratos is an angry dude and he's going to kill everybody. And then this is Kratos as a person.
Yeah.
This is Kratos trying to have a relationship with his son, which probably isn't really that great right now. It doesn't seem like. And yeah, so the things that I took away from it was, obviously the camera angle is very different. It's third person. It's behind Kratos, and it follows him as it walks, as opposed to the old games where it was locked camera.
Yep.
Where you walked into an environment and that was the only shot you got.
So now you can actually spin the camera.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I'm not sure. It was hard to tell because they definitely had, at least it seemed like they had some of the UI turned off for the little gameplay portion.
Yep.
Because there was no health or anything like that. But
so
it's hard to tell what the combat actually was, like what you were doing, whether it was like they just weren't showing QuickTime prompts, or especially that first encounter when the guys jump out.
Yeah.
It seemed like there wasn't like you weren't active combat. It was like this was a scripted sequence and you were taking these guys out.
Yeah.
There was a little bit more. It looked a little bit more free when you fought the troll.
Yeah.
But that particular part, I was a little bit confused on. I'm like, is this? Are they just not showing prompts to hit buttons to throw the axe and beat the guy up?
Yeah. Well, apparently, it was one of the interviews I heard from the developer. He said that, let's see, it's not really, they're going to scale down the whole QuickTime, because, God of War has always been known. Like, you're doing all these epic things, usually during boss battles, but a lot of it's just QuickTime events. Hit him at the right time, and Kratos will do all this stuff.
Yeah.
They're still going to have something like that, but there's going to be more player agency. Like, they're going to have you actually perform.
Choose.
Yeah, well, they're going to have you actually perform a lot of the actions that Kratos does during these attacks or whatever.
Okay.
As opposed to just like QuickTime event everything. And
Okay.
also, I guess there's a button dedicated to his son. So he's going to be a big portion of this game. His son, like, he can help you out in battle. He can help you distract enemies. And
yeah, I heard he's going to be with Kratos for pretty much the whole time.
Well, I guess it depends on whatever that son's backstory is, because that son could turn out to be, the mother could be a god, could be a number of things. He might turn into this massive beast for you. Who knows,
you never know.
Yeah, he could have his own rage meter.
The fact that he's going to be there is going to be great.
Yeah.
He's kind of like, looks like a preteen.
Yeah.
So maybe he'll have he'll have a teenage angst meter.
Yeah. That'd be
funny. But to go with that, when they were doing the troll fight, I noticed that when he went into the Spartan rage, that looked like more of what we're used to with God of War, where he's like a sequence of stylized attacks and things like that.
See,
where he takes the enemy down.
I don't think they're gonna abandon that completely, because they want to still make it feel like it's still God of War, but they're gonna do it slightly differently to make it feel new. And another thing, a lot of people right away question, what is this now, like an open world? Apparently the way they're the developer said kind of think the way Tomb Raider does it, with like little hub areas that are interconnected, and as you discover places, because when Kratos walked into a new area and it said on the bottom of the screen or whatever, now discovered, and it said the location. So I guess kind of think Tomb Raider with the way they're gonna do locations and stuff.
That's what I'm most interested to see, is what the world structure is of the game. Like how much you're gonna be going back and doing things, how much there is to explore and discover, and how linear it's going to be.
Yeah, because the other ones were pretty much quite linear. You could kind of go off the path and find hidden
there were
stuff.
secrets and stuff, but it was very much get to the end game.
And something that I think people overlook about God of War sometimes is that, it's a hack and slash, but a lot of especially the first game in particular, you did a crap ton of platforming, and a lot. So, and with this kind of camera view, is that really going to work that same way? Are they going to keep the platforming or kind of take it away? So,
maybe they might give you a choice in whether or not you can or not. Decide to do that hack and slash look, or do your this newer look of it at it. Personally, I like this newer take on it than the old, as Ryan was putting it, the comboing out and doing something. I
it was all
prefer
combo
the whole
driven stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean,
I prefer not to have the combo driven stuff.
Yeah, I mean, for better or worse, this is more interesting to me than just another one of those games.
Exactly. Yeah. This seems like a legit next generation leap that the series needed, a good refresh.
Yeah.
And even at the end of the demo, it just said God of War. It made a lot of people think that, what is this, like a
reboot?
Reboot. But apparently
that seems to be the way. That seems to be the name of the game.
Yeah.
This lately it was
just
reboot.
Reboot.
Even if it's not a reboot, you're still just calling it the original. Like Doom was technically
Doom was
a sequel,
Doom.
But it's not. They're just calling it Doom.
I mean, I guess when enough time passes, I guess you can get away with doing that kind of thing. And even the Ratchet and Clank game, they just called it Ratchet and Clank. It's a reimagining, reintroducing the audience. But in God of War, it's you're going to start with old Kratos, so obviously
it seems
he's already been through a whole lot of crap.
Yeah, it seems to be canonical as opposed to Ratchet and Clank, which is like a reboot of the series. So let's see how it goes. That's for sure.
And Kratos, he's immortal. Apparently, like, he just can't die because in the original game he tried to commit suicide and he couldn't, or whatever.
He's a demigod.
Yeah. So like, he's finally accepted that he can't die, and he's just gotta try to make life,
and
make some kind of life.
I guess it's insinuated that the sun is a demigod too.
Yeah.
So
see, the sun looked a lot more human-like than Kratos does. So.
Well,
and it makes me wonder if Kratos, like, maybe he got with just some kind of human-like girl. So this
it's a
kid,
possibility.
The kid could be like half god, half. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. The whole universe is really interesting the way they do it. God of War. It's like,
Yeah, and it kind of goes hand in hand with old characters with big gray beards when they revealed Marcus Phoenix to be in Gears of War 4.
Well, I was wondering like why you made that comment at first, and then I realized like, all right, Kratos, Marcus Phoenix.
Yeah, it just seems to be.
There was someone else. There was someone else who had like a gray beard, but yeah.
I mean, I'm all about the big red beards, man.
Yeah. Even like Frank West coming back and
in the Dead Rising.
And Dead Rising is
old school.
He seems like a little older and stuff like that. So it's just like, hey, here are these guys. They're getting old.
Yeah. Yeah, even Drake, he was older in this last Uncharted.
Yeah.
So they've made a lot of these. I think Lara Croft is the only one who actually got younger as the game, as she got her reboot.
Yeah, she got the reboot. Now she's young again.
Yeah.
So at the same Sony press conference, they announced Days Gone, which is another zombie game.
Yeah.
We're going to call it, I guess we'll call it a zombie game.
Yeah, it's like I don't know if they're going to go for like full-on survival, but it's going to be like a third-person action survival open world, however you want to call it.
All the
tropes,
the hot topic.
Now wasn't that the like Sons of Anarchy meets The Walking Dead?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, because they started out with just a trailer, and that's all they showed us. And then at the end of the show, they gave us a good 10-minute gameplay.
Yeah.
So I'm optimistic. I'm not. See, Sony Bend, that's the name of the studio that's doing it. Mm-hmm. They're generally unproven. Like the one that I remember the most is they did the Uncharted game for the PlayStation Vita. I know they have a couple other games.
Everyone's talking about Siphon Filter.
Yeah, they did Siphon Filter. I think
which I'm not too familiar with.
Me neither.
I think they did the PSP.
It's a really
Siphon
good
filters.
name.
What's that?
It's a really good name.
What?
Siphon Filter.
Yeah. Well, that was kind of like, I don't know. That came out on the PlayStation 1, the original like trilogy or whatever.
Yeah.
But no, those were good games for their time. That's another one people want to see rebooted. But from what they showed, it seems that it's not going to be like Dead Rising. It's going to be more of a serious like post-apocalypse setting. But yeah, you're a biker who I don't know if you have a biker gang necessarily, but they're going to try to make it an emotional story. And apparently these guys aren't zombies. They're actually alive. That's why they were dropping like flies in the trailer.
Yeah, they call them freakers, right?
Freakers, yeah, something like that. So
but it's just another name for
they came up with their own
similar
name
to a zombie.
Yeah. One thing about Sony's conference is like between God of War, Days Gone, and Horizon, you saw like 3 games, all third person. And they all kind of start out in this like woods-like area. So if you think about it, they all kind of seemed samey. But it's like, but these are all the games getting developed right now, and they all have potential.
They're all taking place at very different times. So like,
it seems to be the type of thing that people are going for right now. Is open world. Start in you're either in a desert or you're in a jungle or something of that, or woods of nature of that, and that seems to be the thing that's coming out. It's as you said, they're just remaking everything. So everything's a remake, open world, survived.
Yeah.
Well, what I'm happy about, this is a new IP from a unestablished developer. So, this is their time to shine.
Yeah.
I kind of liked how he I don't know, he got some kind of silencer for his gun. Like inside, he opened up a car hood and grabbed something to put on the end of his gun. But it
made it into a silencer.
Yeah, he turned it into a homemade silencer, but it didn't really. He didn't even use it once the freakers started going after him, because all of a sudden there was like 100 of them, and he was just like, climbing up the building higher and higher. And
so they had a big gameplay presentation at the end of the press conference.
Yeah, and
this was like they showed the trailer at the beginning, and then they had the gameplay at the end, and there were parts of it that looked really cool, like the zombies, the freakers that were like flowing through the environment. There was tons of them. It wasn't just like a few zombies here or there. It was like a horde of zombies like following you through all of these environments. I liked how he did environmental hazards, like he cut these boards and they all fell, so the zombies just stumbled over them and everything like that.
Yeah, so it seems like you could like use some strategic elements to kind of.
Yeah, I would just wonder what like sort of indication there'll be for that. Like, will you have to be there before to know that those things are there, or is there going to be some sort of clear prompt that as you're running, oh yeah, there's this thing, so I hit X and he cuts it. The only thing that kind of rubbed me the wrong way was the amount of shooting.
Yeah.
Like turning around and kind of unloading clips and clips and clips into these zombies.
I hope that's not how the final thing is, because that kind of takes away from the whole survival.
Yeah,
aspect.
It didn't really seem that risky. Like, there were a lot of zombies, sure, but he just seems like he had infinite ammo. Like Rambo just.
He had like infinite ammo, and it seemed like the AI was even dumbed down a bit because, right before he got on the bridge at the end of that gameplay, like he literally just ran and brushed past a couple of them. They didn't do anything.
Yeah, I wonder what the zombies do when they actually get to you.
Yeah,
if they like do they bite you? Do they grab you? Do they pull you down? Like, what's
their main? What do they want?
Yeah, what's their attack? Yeah,
but when I see a game like this, I just see full of potential. But it could be a flop. It could be not. But
yeah,
it's something good for Sony to have in there.
We'll see how that one goes. So the other big thing. Well, actually, I guess there's two more big things to talk about with the Sony press conference, depending on what you consider big.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of Horizon Zero Dawn gameplay, which is definitely a highlight for me.
Something I want.
Yeah. Yep. I think that's another game. At least all three of us are going to be getting.
Yep. That game looks fantastic. Visually, and at the same time, I think the gameplay is playing out.
Yeah, everything about it. The world building, just her animations in general, like her climbing, her ducking, shooting, like everything just looked on point.
Well, the thing that I think I liked the most was the tether. Those tethers that she shot and held the robot animals down. I guess we'll call them.
Yeah.
And then so for me, the highlight was her tethering that boar or whatever, like buffalo robot down, and then using this rod that like hacked it, and then she could ride it.
Yeah, that was cool.
Submit.
And then she ran into the village that was getting attacked by that bigger robot thing, and then it was like a boss fight almost.
Yeah, pretty much.
You were like, it was weak to fire. She figured that out, so she had to use fire arrows and fire traps and things like that.
She has some kind of vision, like a lot of these games have nowadays, that can like identify the weak spots of these
analyze
bots.
it.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a video game, so, and they're not trying to go for super realism either, so I can accept that. I noticed there was some indication that there's going to be a conversation wheel, so you're going to, I don't know if it's necessarily going to be choice driven, but you can at least respond to what people are saying to you with your own kind of flair. The whole concept is just very interesting to me. I like it. It makes me wonder if you're going to find out like where all these robot dinosaurs came from, how they somehow took over the world, and why humanity has kind of like regressed back to like the Stone Age while you have this crazy technology roaming around.
Well, yeah, technology mixed with that, but that I maybe the only reason I like this game is I like games where you get to use a bow and arrow instead of a gun.
Yeah. Same here.
I like the whole let's hunt like primitive beast things. It's kind of like that other Ubisoft game,
Primal.
I was kind of disappointed in that game, but I like the idea that you could use a bow and arrow in that game, and I'm hoping that this is better than that.
Oh, I hope so too.
Yeah.
In that aspect, and it's not something that's just like that. And you're like, I could just come up and tame something.
The color
real quick.
palette and everything like that.
Yeah, no, I can see that. It's just third person to first, and I have a feeling the story is definitely going to be deeper. And
I'll be interested to see how seamless the open world is.
Yeah,
they're saying that it's like a full open world and you can go wherever you want, but we'll see if it's more like a big region and then there's another region and things like that, and how intricate the story ends up weaving in. Sometimes I have problems with the way that stories unfold in open world games.
Yes, I completely agree, because you kind of lose a lot of agency in open world games.
Yeah, and it's like sometimes there can be too many distractions.
Yeah,
and we'll see what kind of you're climbing towers and populating maps.
Yeah, so hopefully they get rid of, or they stay away from tropes like that, or cliches, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah,
but And there was some indestructible environments I saw in there. So, no, so much potential. Guerrilla, like, they have a decent track record, but this could be their real coming out party, is what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
And we got a release date, February, a great time of year to release it. So,
I've been finding a lot of the better games are coming out at the beginning of the year
I know, this
instead of
year
in
has
the middle
been
now.
pretty front-loaded.
Yeah.
I wonder if...
But think of all the games that are coming out in the fall, though.
It's always fall and end of winter, early spring games that seem to be the greatest. And then kind of the summer games are
Yeah. Well, summer, yeah.
Yeah, there's just not many of them, for one thing.
They probably figure people are not going to be gaming as much in the summer, but...
Yeah. So...
But yeah, Horizon, awesome.
Other than Horizon, let's talk about...
The naked Norman
Reedus' ass. Featured prominently on the Sony showcase.
Oh, man.
he had a baby.
Yeah.
Get into my belly.
Something like that.
Dude.
So...
All right. So,
it goes dark, right? It goes dark.
Yeah, it goes
and
dark.
Someone gets introduced, and they come down this lit, like ramp.
Yeah, dude.
That's being lit up as he's walking down.
Yeah.
But he just says, "Fuck it."
And he didn't.
I'm gonna walk in front of this thing, and it's gonna be like I'm walking on air.
Yeah, I wonder if he even knew that was gonna happen as he was going down.
Fuck
Maybe.
rehearsal.
Yeah.
I'm just doing this, because my name is Hideo Kojima.
Yep. And of course, he had to do the classic, "I'm back."
Yeah,
And
I'm back.
That got a big response,
Yeah.
like we expected. Well, I didn't actually expect to see him announce.
I didn't think he was gonna. I didn't think they were gonna do it. And so then
I'm
it
happy
launches
they
into
did,
this trailer that just kind of lingers on Norman Reedus' naked ass,
Serious.
and then he stands up, and there's a baby with an umbilical cord next to him. It's on a beach,
Yep.
and he's like crying, and then he's got all these handprints all over him, and then there are these black dots in the sky,
Yeah.
and it's called Death Stranding.
Death Stranding. Very weird name. I guess it's cool that because remember, Reedus was supposed to be part of that Silent Hills project.
Yep.
So I guess it's cool that he stuck around for Kojima's next project. But yeah, man, all I can say is like, this could be the most twisted thing we've seen Kojima do yet.
Yeah.
like you were telling me
I'm
private.
excited. I don't know about you. Norman Reedus' ass is just exciting
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, we're all excited. Dude, that's why Sai couldn't be here, man. He couldn't contain his excitement. So,
Yeah.
You know.
He
But no, like Ryan,
screamed
like,
so loud he got strep throat.
yeah. Like Ryan said to me in private was that since Kojima, like, he's kind of looked at as like a victim because of this whole Konami thing, and he's probably gonna have free reign to do whatever he wants of this game. So Ryan and myself even are kind of worried about he's gonna turn the weirdness up to 11, and there's gonna be no one there to say otherwise. Like, dude,
Yeah.
maybe you should
Maybe
like
you should take it down a couple notches.
because
And then
even
it turns out
when
to
Metal
be like
Gear
the
first
best game ever.
Yeah. When Metal Gear first came out, it was relatively like a more simple story, and
Yeah,
then it got weirder
It
as the
was
sequels.
it was weird, but it wasn't like
Yeah.
batshit crazy like
Yeah.
some of it ended up getting. And it
I
looks
don't know,
like he's
Norman
starting
Reedus
on
connected
batshit
to a
crazy.
yeah,
with
he's
this
just
one.
going with like this crazy. Well, I guess we saw Norman Reedus in full graphical form, guys,
Yep.
with a baby.
For one, I was surprised that they even had something to show.
Yeah, because
Um,
honestly, dude, what year do you guys really think this is gonna come out? Oh,
Yeah,
like,
it's probably gonna.
two-
Well, it depends.
2 or 3 more years, maybe.
Probably.
Yeah, probably at least 2 or 3 years, probably 4. So yeah, I was surprised that they had it. And 2, it felt more like a hype piece than
Yeah.
anything, because it's like they didn't really have much to say.
no.
There really wasn't much there, and it just made it look fucking crazy.
Yeah. I think it was just a weird way to say, all right, Kojima's back and he's working on
Yeah.
something.
I mean, I love
Yeah.
Kojima. I love Metal Gear Solid, and I'm super excited to see what he does. I just hope, like I said, it isn't 11 crazy right from the start, because it'll turn people away.
Yeah, imagine if the game just opens like that.
Yeah.
Like with the way it showed it with naked Norman. All of a sudden you're playing a naked Norman Reedus.
Yeah, on the beach.
Yeah, it's like, what the hell? But
I'm pretty sure that that's probably something that takes place like
in the middle, probably.
That's not the start. Either that's the very start of the game and it gets a bunch of clothes, or something just happened and that's like halfway through the game.
Well, I'm
Like
assuming
you said, it would be weird to be playing a game where you're nothing but a naked Norman Reedus. I mean, I know a couple of ladies that might be keen on watching Norman Reedus' ass the entire time, but quite frankly, I don't want to be staring at his ass the entire time I'm playing the game.
This isn't the first time that a completely naked character has appeared in a Metal Gear Solid in a Hideo Kojima game.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the whole like last act of not the whole last act, but a big part of the last act of Metal Gear Solid 2, you were running around naked.
Okay, yep.
But
the only other game
I'm assuming that armor that he had, that futuristic armor is going to have something to do with it.
Probably.
In the logo, and there was that promotional image and stuff like that. So he's probably some sort of future soldier, and shit gets weird.
All right. Yeah,
when
dude,
you have a baby attached to you.
Yeah.
That disappears.
Yeah, that disappears. I don't know. We'll definitely see where that goes. There was one thing that I wanted to mention. He did a series of tweets about the game and what his quote-unquote vision is for it. And one of the things that I found really interesting was the way that he's suggesting death get handled. He's going to approach it in a different way than like pressing continue on a game over screen or something like that, which is exciting because I think that's one of the things that death just doesn't get handled well in games.
It normally doesn't have much consequence.
Yeah, you just load a save or something like that.
You're good.
I liked how like BioShock did it, where
with the Vita chambers and things like that.
The Vita chambers, you just in-world thing where you appear again in the world, and it's like explained in that context.
Or in like Infinite, where Elizabeth would like revive you and stuff.
Yeah,
like at least BioShock is just unmatched when it comes to certain aspects like that.
Yeah, I just wish that like they had done it a little bit, like other games had taken that and been like, oh, this is pretty cool. So something like make it realistic within the context of
particularly the first-person shooter genre. I feel like that's so stagnated these days that
Yeah. So Sony had a bunch of VR. I don't think. There's a couple cool things like that Batman thing.
But they didn't really show anything for it, did they?
No, they didn't. It was just... that weird Final Fantasy 15 demo.
It just didn't make sense, dude.
Yeah, apparently that's pretty terrible.
Why are you using
guys know my opinion on VR. I'm not for VR.
Oh, of course, Resident Evil 7. But
yeah, I think the only cool part was probably the Resident Evil 7 announcement and they're calling it Biohazard, which is
very confusing.
Yeah.
Because it's called Biohazard
in Japan,
everywhere else but North America. And now it's Biohazard.
And of course, their little clever way of putting 7 into the evil.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
But besides that, like, we don't have much context for what it's going to be. But if it's a return to roots, modernized, I am all for it.
Yeah.
Because Capcom could finally, like, revive.
Come back?
Revive a dying franchise that so many fans want to see come back in a big way.